so happy to be back. I've been gone for a while because, because my laptop very suddenly and unexpectedly died. And I was not able to edit anything. I had all kinds of footage on my external hard drive, but I wasn't able to put it out there for you. So, but we're back in action and I'm so happy. I actually really missed this. So I'm very, very happy to be here, and also very happy to share these recipes with you that I filmed weeks ago that I was really looking forward to sharing. And before I do that, I just wanted to share a little story with you in hopes that it will inspire you a little bit to, no, I'm not going to actually decide for you what it should inspire in you, but I will just tell you this. We recently went camping, which I will post a video about in a couple of days, and it was beautiful. It rained a lot, but it was very beautiful, but very busy. We had dogs with us and small children with us and activities to do. And also, did I just say it was raining? It rained. It rained a lot. But something really cool happened. There was a morning that I woke up pretty early. I don't know, it was before 6. So say like around 5:30 in the morning. And nobody else was up and about yet. So I got up and went for a walk. And I ended up walking all the way down to a lake, which is not even 2 kilometers, I wouldn't say. I would say. And it was so quiet, like so quiet. And it was just getting light out. And it was almost like, it was beautiful, but I get like a little bit uncomfortable sometimes in nature when there's no other people around. So, you know, I was on bear alert for sure, but definitely enjoying how gorgeous it was. And along the walk, there's little bits of the lake and ponds and things like that. And I stopped to take pictures and it was so beautiful. And I brought my journal with me because the intention was just to walk down to the lake and sit down somewhere and write and maybe take some photos. I'm not a big swimmer. I love the water. I love being next to the water. I like floating around in the water. I'm just not a very strong swimmer, so I'm not somebody who will go in over my head or do laps or things like that. I'm just not a strong swimmer, but I do love the water. But I had no intention of going in it, so I was not dressed for this, and I just had my little tote bag with my camera and my journal, and I went down to the water, and when I got there, it was so serene, and the only sounds were the sounds of loons and I think ducks and some other birds, but hardly even, just the tiniest, faintest sound of it, and some rustling of the leaves in the trees around the lake. There's no campers anywhere nearby, no people, and no bears. And I just walked into the water, and it was so warm and perfect that I just kept going into the water. And then I was just floating around in the water, and it was so pretty. And I was just breathing and being there. And I wondered, when was the last time I was ever just alone in nature? And I couldn't think of a single time in my entire life, and I'm 54, that I'd ever just sat alone, completely alone, surrounded by nature, real for real nature, not just like at the park. And I felt overwhelmed with emotion. It was so beautiful. Yet even still, I had this moment of like, I better hurry up. I better get back to the campsite. People will be getting up soon. And I had to really pull back and remind myself that we were camping and nobody was expecting me anywhere. I didn't have a meeting or any appointments or jobs to do or anything. We were just there on vacation, and I caught myself a few times at the lake having that feeling, having that pull, like I had to be somewhere to do something. And I got out of the water and I journaled and I took some pictures and some video, and it was just so incredible. But I realized two things. I spent a lot of time with that feeling of apprehension of what's next and what has to, okay, I hear myself say that a lot, okay, and that means like next. And I did that even in New York State at a campground on the lake at 6 o'clock in the morning, all by myself. Like, okay, I better get back. Anyway, I did spend some time just breathing and being there and feeling just so incredibly grateful. In fact, I actually thought to myself, like, this feeling I'm having right now, this is what feeling grateful feels like. Truly, truly grateful. This is what it feels like. And this is what feeling present truly, truly feels like. I find it so interesting to realize how often I think I'm being present, and actually it's almost like I'm trying to get away from it. And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't even notice that. It's just very subconscious, but it's interesting. So I challenge you to take a few minutes to be truly, truly present and think about nothing else. And I don't mean like meditating or trying to clear every single thought out of your head, but just sit where you are at some moment in the near future and just take in your surroundings. Some people are so good at this, I'm sure. But if you're not habituated to do this, really just sit there and be. It's such an incredibly powerful feeling. And I think I spend a lot of time thinking I'm doing that. And I realized the other morning at like not even 6 o'clock in the morning, in a huge body of water surrounded by forest and just wild wilderness creatures, animals, that even when I think I'm being present, I'm probably already thinking about the next thing that I need to do. Like, okay, I'm gonna take this minute, have this tea, just be here. But I'm here thinking about what needs to happen next. I'm not actually present when I'm doing that. So I challenge you. That was what I was trying to say. I challenge you to take a minute or a few minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, take all the time you need to, and try to truly be present and open to whatever feelings come your way, even if those feelings are the feeling of trying to get away from that feeling of being present. I don't know what that's about. I'm definitely gonna spend more time practicing this, because once you get past the part where you feel like you need to get away from it and get to what's next, once you get past that and you really sit with that feeling, it's just incredible. It's just so moving. It really, truly is. So I hope you try it. But before you do, I'm going to show you these two recipes that I think are pretty amazing, that are inspired by a magazine that I picked up a month or so ago in my local health food store. And I tweaked them a little bit, and yeah, just a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit. I'll explain, you'll see. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you try them. And if you do, I hope you leave a comment below and let me know how it turned out for you and if you liked it or not. I started by making the pesto. I used about 2 cups of arugula and a big bunch of fresh basil, as well as about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of raw sunflower seeds, not the roasted ones, just raw, and a couple of cloves of garlic peeled and chopped roughly, as well as half of a lemon, well, the juice of half of a lemon, and a generous pinch of salt, and probably about 1/4 cup of olive oil.
I blended it really quickly in a high-speed blender, but only for a couple of seconds, because if you blend it too long, the garlic becomes very, very bitter. So smooth, but not over blended. For the cashew cheese, I soaked some raw cashews overnight, about 1 cup, and then I mixed some psyllium husk powder with water. The original recipe that I followed called for 2 tablespoons of unflavored psyllium husk powder and half a cup of water. And when I did that, I found that it became really, I don't even know how to say it. It was almost not hard, but like it was so firm that it was too much. So if you want a hard cheese, you might want to go with 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder for half a cup of water. But I found that was just too hard. I didn't actually like it, and I didn't feel like it had that soft, smooth texture that I was looking for. So I actually used, I think, just over 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk powder to half a cup of water. When you stir it, it becomes gelatinous almost right away, so you'll almost get a feel for the texture that it's gonna have. So you don't want it to be too soupy or wet, but you also don't want it to be like, really hard. I added the psyllium husk powder mixed with water to my cashews that I had soaked overnight. And I also added my lemon juice and my nutritional yeast and some Italian herbs. I used some dried Italian herbs and a pinch of salt. I blended that up in the blender also, and when it was nice and smooth, I put it on a piece of cellophane wrap or saran wrap and formed it into a long kind of roll or a log. And then I wrapped it tightly in the plastic wrap and left it in the fridge to chill for, I think it was about 4 hours, probably at least 4 hours, I would say, just to be sure that it was, nice and firm. Then I just simply sliced some cocktail tomatoes. I like them small because then they just make kind of little finger food appetizers. And I just put a slice of the cashew cheese and then a dollop of the pesto in between every layer of tomato. And that's it. And they not only are super tasty, but they're also just adorable to look at.
This year is the first year that I attempted, I think it's the first year that I attempted to grow zucchini in a pot. And I'll be honest, it didn't work out very well. We got 2 whole edible zucchinis over the entire summer, and the plant has just given up on life completely at this point. So I don't think I'll do that again next year. I've had great luck with zucchinis in the past, and I love those years where there's just an overabundance of them. I definitely had, there was one year when I planted zucchinis in big pallet planters that I had built, or that my brother had built. If I'm being honest, it wasn't me at all. My brother built me these huge pallet planters, and I put hay bale all in the bottom. Yeah, I lined them with hay and then put soil and compost and all kinds of stuff, and the zucchinis went crazy. I had way more than I could possibly eat, and it was incredible. And this year I thought, I'll just do 1 pot because we don't need hundreds of zucchinis. And sadly, as I said, we only got 2. Very sad. But anyways, I made this zucchini Alfredo that I think is so good. I would make this over and over and over again.
So before I started slicing up my vegetables, I put about 1/3 of a cup of hemp hearts into a measuring cup with 3/4 of a cup of unsweetened plant milk. And just remember when you're choosing your plant milks that some of them can be a little bit sweet. I used macadamia. It was okay, but macadamia milk often tends to be a little bit more on the sweeter side, but it does have the advantage of being creamy. Oat milk probably would have been good too, like a creamy oat milk, soy milk. I don't love almond milk for these kinds of things because it tends to be, I find it tends to be more watery. Anyway, so I mixed the hemp parts into the plant milk and I set that aside to soak. So while the hemp hearts were softening in the plant milk, I used a cheese slicer and made thick ribbons of zucchini, and then I took a knife and just sliced them vertically down the middle so that they were a bit thinner. And you can use whatever attachment you have. I don't have a vegetable noodler, a spiralizer, whatever they're called anymore. I got rid of mine because I wasn't using it very often, and I find this works anyway. These noodles are more like a fettuccine. The original recipe actually called for raw zucchini and had no instructions to cook them, but I simmered them in some boiling water for just a couple of minutes, just a couple of minutes, just to soften them up a little bit. They weren't soggy or floppy or anything like that. They still had their shape, but I prefer them a little bit cooked. I also sliced some bell pepper. And cut some spinach into ribbons. I chopped up some fresh basil. And then I took my hemp hearts in the plant milk and I added lemon juice, onion powder, garlic powder, red pepper flakes, sea salt, pepper, nutritional yeast, and some sun-dried tomato puree. The recipe's on the sweetvegan.net website if you want the exact measurements and instructions. But basically I took all of the Alfredo sauce ingredients, the hemp hearts and seasonings and everything, and I just blended them up quickly in the NutriBullet, and then I poured that over the sliced vegetables and spinach and just made sure that all of it was really well coated with the sauce. And I drizzled a little bit more of the sun-dried tomato puree on top, and it was absolutely perfect, especially for a hot summer day, which we have had many of these days.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. It means so much to me. As always, thank you. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, I can't thank you enough. You're awesome, and I think it's amazing that you are a part of what I'm doing and helping to make it possible. So thank you. Words are not enough. If you are someone who would like to work one-on-one with me for naturopathy or nutrition, there is a booking link in the description below. I will be back very soon. And in the meantime, take really good care of yourselves. Bye.